to get fans going back there, it's all about daytime kickoffs. Kids go for free, and don't make beers $12 when you go to buy them.
I'd love a Northland or a Southland. I know it's probably not going to happen, but I'd like that just because to bring the other extremes of the country in as well. I'd like a wildcard pod, that's what I'm saying.
We also look to the next generation of talent coming through. So there's a lot of young talent that will be on display this weekend.
DSPN, the Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
NPC Rugby kicks off tonight, Eden Park, Auckland versus Waikato. And we've got a couple of sods into the studio and on Zoom here to talk about this. John Day joins me. John.
Marty, can't wait, fins
Tasman,
up.
Man, there
That's
you
right.
go. Of course, I'm from Wellington, so I love my capital city. And Richard Pod Turner. Well, you've just hauled yourself around every single province there is, mate.
Both camps, mate. I've got a couple of camps. So I'm a Hawke's Bay boy, born and bred.
Of course.
And I've always said that the NPC is about where you're from. So I'm a Hawke's Bay boy. And then obviously a North Harbour is my second favourite NPC team.
We've all got, this is the great thing about it, because wherever you are in New Zealand, just put your provincial cap pride on and just stick it to everyone else, no matter where they're from. Before we get into this, though, we've been talking about it all week, mate, and it's still being talked about. Was it a try or was it a penalty, or should it have been the one it wasn't in the second test, Lions versus Wallabies?
Marty, it's a try. It's in the box, and it was awarded at the time. And look, it's the challenge with rugby is that it's subjectively judged, right? So you're always going to have in different situations different opinions, and look, you can argue all you like, but there were four guys there that made the same decision.
Yep.
So I actually thought they dealt with it pretty well. I enjoyed hearing Morgan Turanui cry like a baby. But as I say, as much as he criticised them for not having the balls, so to speak, to make a big decision, I thought that they handled it well. They rationalised it. They all came up with the same decision. So that's you just got to get on with it. In rugby, as long as it's subjective, we'll always have those situations.
John, it was one of those situations, really, wasn't it, where if it had have been a penalty, I probably wouldn't have complained. It was almost such a 50-50 call that the way when the TMO gets involved and they microscope it and they, it's just, that's what rugby's rules are. It ends up being interpretive and that's what happens.
Yeah, they sent it up as a try though, didn't it? So when it becomes 50-50, then you go with the referee's call, and that's what I want to see more of in rugby. We don't want to sit there as fans and watch replays slow down forever and, did an arm here touch the back of his neck and is that a penalty? That's not what rugby's about. It's about taking the referee's call, dealing with it, and not slowing it down for the last 2 minutes of the game, so you lose all the enjoyment, all the excitement of that match-winning try to go over forensically something that may or may not have been a penalty. So I think as fans, we've got to deal with it better as well, and I think we did from Wayne Barnes back in the day. That taught us all a good lesson, just to take the referee's call and move on. But we're day 5 talking about this now.
Well, this is the thing, and here in New Zealand, if it was against us, of course, I moaned long and loud after 2017 when the referee reversed his call, Pod, so... It is a situation that rugby they're trying their best to deal with it, but it seems a shame that that's the thing that everyone's talking about after that match, which I thought was just a cracking game, probably the best game of rugby I've seen all year.
Yeah, I agree, mate. It's a cracking contest. And again, as a rugby fan, I guess the disappointment is that the result didn't go Australia's way, and we're heading to a decider this weekend in Sydney. So that's probably where if there's any disappointment in the result, that was it. It didn't set up the humdinger, go to the third test 1-1 and everything's on the line.
NPC then kicking off tonight. So last year, I'm not going to ask you to name all 4 semi-finalists because I had to look it up myself. I'm going to tell you who they were, mate. Wellington beat Bay of Plenty after extra time in the final. The other 2 semi-finalists were Canterbury and Waikato. The Shielders ended up in Taranaki after his mob defended it a couple of times in Tasman. So that's who we got. Right at the start of this competition, who is your favourite team tonight before we even get it underway?
As in tonight's game or as in the competition?
And tonight
favourite?
As to who's going to win the whole thing.
Oh, I'm going to cover one eye. I'm seriously, look, I read through all the squads. I'm really comfortable with the squad that the Hawke's Bay guys have put together. They have got a very, very good squad. Got depth, got talent in key positions. and they were. I thought they underperformed a little bit last year, but managed to get to the playoffs or the quarterfinals. Obviously, then got skilled. I'm seriously, I might have one hand over one eye, but I'm of all the squads on paper, I think that Hawke's Bay side should be very, very competitive.
Sorry to cut you off, Pod, but Magpies love stealing shiny things from other people, don't they? And you've stolen Zahn Sullivan and Miracle Fire Lungi. I mean, can't you get your own talent, Pod?
Good point.
Not John. I don't think we're a bay, mate, and everyone wants to go there. So it's not. It's not hard for them to recruit on that basis. But yeah, look, very strong side.
Yeah, the thing with Hawke's Bay last year, it was all about that shield, wasn't it? Because an arm and a leg grew in each of those games, and that was what was kind of propelling the season. As soon as that shield was lost, the season unwound. As far as Tasman goes, though, Tasman, I think, will be terribly disappointed at how it finished last year, John. And again, once that shield went, the wheels fell off. Tavatavanawa went. You got beaten by 60, 70 points in the last match. So how are you looking this year?
Thank goodness the Storm week doesn't exist anymore, because that's what happened to Tasman just before the playoffs. We had to defend the shield against Auckland on a Wednesday, then turn around and play Taranaki 4 days later. They took it off us. Tavatavanawa got injured, and Canterbury put 60 on us in the quarterfinal, and that was the end of the season. So won't have to put up with that this year. We've got Leicester Fainganuku back, which is fantastic. We've got David Harveli and Ethan Blackadder, who are overlooked for the All Blacks. They have a lot to play for. Finlay Christie as well, another guy. He's got the captaincy this year, who's looking to break back into the ABs. Kyron Taimoifalau, who you remember from Moana Pacifica, was the leading try scorer in Super Rugby. He's playing fullback for us this year as well. And we've got Tavatavanawa for one game at the start of the season against Bay of Plenty, who will be very good as well. So I'm confident Tasman can win the title for a third time, but I am looking at Bay of Plenty as well and thinking that they'll be pretty good. Leroy Carter was awesome for the Chiefs this year, and I think he's going to carve up at centre for the Steamers.
Yeah, and they'll still be hurting after what happened to them last year, Pod. I also like the fact that, those All Black names have been mentioned. We get told, 8 All Blacks are being released. I'm old school. Why aren't they all being released? Why aren't they all playing this weekend? I just think any time that they're not playing, surely they should be playing for their provinces.
Oh, I agree. But look, eight's still the number, so we'll take that. And look, you look at this competition, and I think now we also look to the next generation of talent coming through. So there's a lot of young talent that will be on display this weekend. And having said that, we've got 8 All Blacks that are available. We've also got a couple of blokes by the name of Aaron Cruden and Lema Sopawanga. I saw on the team list as well. So there's plenty. If you're a rugby fan and you want your so-called stars out there, then you're gonna see a few of them. But what I really enjoy about this NPC is sitting back and watching the next generation talent.
It's a great point.
Show their wares out on the track.
You were talking to TJ about this earlier in the week too. It's just so essential, isn't it? This is why I love this competition, and it has to be preserved as well, because there is no natural jump from age group Super Rugby camps or whatever they are into a Super Rugby side. You've actually got to physically be able to actually earn your way there, and this is the way that you earn it. This is how New Zealand rugby has always been strong, and I just think that any kind of de-evolution of this competition is it's just not going to work for us. It needs to actually be maintained and even strengthened from where it is now. I think we all think that, don't we?
Yeah, it's great, and old All Blacks come back and join this competition again. You see Julian Savia and Brad Shields running around for Wellington, winning the competition with a bunch of young kids who probably weren't even born when they first played their first game for Wellington. So that's a great mix, and that's something Auckland's trying to bring in this year as well. I thought signing Stephen Perifetta was a great signing for them, but he's got that niggly calf. So in the meantime, they've got some young boys wearing the 10 jersey, and Rico Simpson, who we've seen at the under-20s for the last couple of years for New Zealand at fullback. And then the sons of great All Blacks as well that you see rolling around. Peyton Spencer is going to be playing for Auckland as well. So it's this incredible mix as well, and it's easy for fans to get in if you know when the teams are playing, which is probably the hardest thing to cut through and actually find out that the competition's on. But I think even North Harbour are giving all kids free entry for the entire season, very accessible for people who want to go to a game, and which is ideal.
Let's remember also that it's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, okay? So all of that midweek stuff that we've had, as you say, the Storm weeks and that, John. One thing I've been really impressed with your mob, North Harbour, the other mob other than the Hawke's Bay mob pod, is I've just been watching a lot of their social media, and they've really been celebrating the elevation from club rugby into this side. They seem to have really connected to that side of it, and I don't know whether they've done it as much in the past. Have you noticed it as well?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think, through necessity, Marty, I think, in terms of getting people to the games, you've got to go to your grassroots, right? The guys that have been involved week in, week out over the past few months with at club rugby level, you want to tap into that and get them to come along and watch the club heroes perform on the next stage. So yeah, they're doing a great job. Social media is a big part of the old marketing mix now in footy, and in terms of North Harbour, I think whoever they've got running that show is doing a very good job at the moment.
I love the fact that, whoever's done the draw as well has kicked it off with a real humdinger tonight, which is the Battle of the Bombays, because, growing up in Wellington, I was always enthralled by this match, Auckland versus Waikato, and the fact that they just didn't like each other. The cowbells would bust up and go to the big smoke and give it, and then, alternatively, Auckland might come down and give them a slap and come back, and, it's just these are the kind of rivalries that this whole comp is fueled upon, right?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yep, but... and the great thing about this competition is they're two great sides historically, Auckland and Waikato. They finished 11th and 7th last year. So they both got they really got to come out and hit the ground running tonight, and so that just adds to the mix as well. So great game to certainly kick off the 2025 NPC season.
John, we've talked about it a lot as well. I don't know what the answer is in terms of, regenerating the crowds, because people go to things that they want to go to, okay? And in the days that I grew up, and same as Pod, watching NPC rugby, 40,000 would pack out Canterbury, 35,000 at Athletic Park. These are some of the most memorable games I've ever been to. What they're doing in the Bay of Plenty has been brilliant. They turned that Tauranga Domain into a real, it's its own little boutique ground for So Eden Park tonight, it'll be largely empty. That's the shame about this, isn't it? So what is the answer to this? Like, say, for Auckland, for example, where do they take those games?
Yeah, I know. I spoke to their CEO, Jared Beard, during the week. I was like, mate, why are you still playing at Eden Park? It's cavernous. You get 5,000, 10,000 max.
Which is a good crowd if you had it in a...
Exactly. If you had a boutique little stadium out West Auckland at Trusts or something, you could fill the grandstand, but they have a relationship with Eden Park. It's the home of Auckland rugby, and like you mentioned, all those great moments of their past have happened there. Yep. They can host corporates there as well. And the thing with Auckland, it's if you have a game in West Auckland, how are you going to get out there? The traffic's so bloody bad. You're going to be stuck in traffic for an hour or two to get out there. So they are sticking with Eden Park. They're taking one game to Auckland Grammar, which is going to be a daytime game, and they did. And I think that's the answer for NPC. It's family entertainment if you're going to go there in person. At nighttime on TV, great. On a Thursday, put your feet up, maybe have a beer, have your dinner, watch some provincial rugby. But to get fans going back there, it's all about daytime kickoffs. Kids go for free, and don't make beers $12 when you go to buy them, and don't make the hot dogs cold and cost about the same amount. Look after the fans a bit more, make it fun, make it friendly, make it family. That's how you do it.
Yeah, I love honour with Domain. I don't know why, Pod. I mean, that maybe it was that Battle of the Bridge. Were you involved in that one?
Yes, mate. Yes, I was.
Who did you hit?
Yeah, worst game of rugby in history.
It was great to watch for the rest of us, though.
Yeah, but that stadium got to take the game back to the fans. So find something that's accessible. Find something that is an appropriate size, and then give them a reason to come. And there's no doubt about it. And you're right. I mean, it will be cavernous, and from a player's perspective, when they run out onto the paddocks. So. Yeah, I don't have the answers, but I certainly, we've always said that it's worth having a more serious conversation about how that can be improved.
When you were playing, and Pod was an All Black back in '92, and this was when it was amateur. We were starting to inch towards professionalism. How big were the rivalries when you were playing? How much did the players talk about it? How much did they, as far as North Island, you loved playing against the South Island sides? Was it as big a deal as us fans always thought it was?
Oh, 100%. I still do. I have an abject hatred for call.
See, that word came out. I was waiting for the word to come out. This is what it is. This is what it inspires in us. It's a fan hatred. It's a good hatred.
The other side of the word,
yeah, right.
So going back to that Battle of the Bridge. So we were both sponsored by Nike at the time, and they put up billboards in downtown Auckland, say with statements like, "This town ain't big enough for the both of us." and that just fueled the rivalry. Yeah, by the time we got actually to getting out onto the middle of the paddock, it was just it was driven by not only the rivalry, but I think a genuine genuine hate for the other team, and that's what provincial parochialism is all about. It's my town's better than yours.
Yeah. So even though most of those guys were your mates, though, weren't they? I mean, that was so how did I've always been intrigued as to how it all ended after that, because there was some really ugly stuff that went on. How did it end after the game and in the days afterwards? Did people get in touch with each other or something and say, "Oh, sorry, bro, I didn't actually mean to do that"?
Oh, that's always the great thing about footy, though. I mean, we all went over the road to the Porinamo and just had a few beers and a bit of a chuckle about what went on during the game.
Okay, just as easy as that.
Yeah, still remain friends today. But I still dislike Auckland as a whole. The Auckland rugby team, I still have a dislike for. I'll cheer for anybody that's playing against Auckland.
So how on earth did they ever think it was a great idea to get Hawke's Bay and Manawatu together as the Central
Vikings?
How did that ever happen? Who sat down and said, "No, this will work"?
And put them in orange jerseys too. They looked horrible, but they won. They won a lot of games.
NPC Rugby kicks off tonight, Eden Park, Auckland versus Waikato. And we've got a couple of sods into the studio and on Zoom here to talk about this. John Day joins me. John, from Hawke's Bay, you don't want a Palmy Norther on board, do you?
No, that's right. Now, that was obviously a decision made at a corporate level. So a few white shoe wonders got around a couple of gin and tonics and thought they came up with a great idea.
Yeah.
It can work though. Like Nelson Bays and Marlborough hated each other, absolutely. But we're both dwindling down in second and third division. It's like, how do we actually become a powerhouse? We need to get over this. So shake hands. And now we're together at the Tasman Marco and one of the best teams going around. So it can work.
And it's intriguing, isn't it, how that has actually worked? Because, they've talked about Taranaki actually getting into, Wanganui, and it's just like, I lived in, Taranaki for 5 years. There's just no way in hell. But I think part of that works, John, because you've got that big rye saddle between you. So it's not like you're actually side by side as towns. You've got a physical barrier between you.
And you can still blame the other side if you lose. It's like, it's the Marlborough players. It's their fault. Bloody Quinton McDonald should have thrown the ball into the line out properly. So that it still exists in there. But it's like Pod says, it's friendly hatred, isn't it? And you'll shake hands and have a beer afterwards because that's what provincial rugby's all about.
I mean, that has to be still one of the best ever ads they ever made for it. The guy, the kick it, don't pass it, don't kick it guy. Remember the Nelson Bay guy, Pod, in the jersey?
Yeah. No, that's right. And look, it is, it's still, we still tell stories about what happens at provincial level, and it's just it is a competition I genuinely look forward to every year. You mentioned it before, Marty. It's a competition that needs to be retained, and it's also a competition that probably deserves to be enhanced. The respect that it deserves.
Yeah, absolutely agree. All right, so if we pick in semi-finalists right now, can you see one of these two teams tonight being there in the final four at the end of this?
No, I can't, Marty.
See, there are two powerhouses, Pod, of New Zealand rugby, and you're saying no.
I know, but this competition's changed in that respect, hasn't it? Like Taranaki, you'd say, has been better, has won more games in this competition than Auckland or Waikato in these recent times. Bay of Plenty, I think, look great on paper. Wellington are going to be bloody hard to beat with Peter Lakai there. He's an absolute star of this competition. And Tasman, they built their team. I know I've gone on about them, but I just think it's not about this big main centres anymore. I think provincial rugby lives in the provinces outside the main centres, and it's shown by the teams who have done well in recent times, apart from bloody Wellington. Your city doesn't even care. They wouldn't even know that they're the champions, and yet there they are. So I'm putting that down to Brad Shields.
Just for the former All Black captain's sake, I just hope, for Sam Kane's sake, I've got no affiliation to Bay of Plenty at all, but I really like that guy, Pod, and it just the look on his face when they lost that Shield Challenge, and the look last year as well. Oh man.
Yeah. Look, and Marty, I'm gonna answer you. Write this down. I'm gonna go Wellington, Tasman, Bay of Plenty, Hawke's Bay for the playoffs.
It's exactly what I had written down, Pod. Those are my four teams as well.
Two great minds, John. Two great minds.
Yeah, we'll see. What about you, Marty?
Well, I think Wellington and since he's gone Hawke's Bay so hard on Hawke's Bay as well, I just can't write off the Cantabs at any stage.
That's so true.
About anything, mate, because the Crusaders came back, and I don't know, when TJ was telling me about Stag Night in Southland, I'd love a team that shouldn't be there. I'd love a Northland or a Southland. I know it's probably not going to happen, but I'd like that just because to bring the other extremes of the country in as well. I'd like a wildcard pod, that's what I'm saying. You're probably right, mate, but I'd like a...
Yep, no argument.
The romance in me, mate.
I'm happy as long as it's not Auckland.
Or Northland would just love to win the Shield in first round. What would that do for the competition if they can go to the Naki and lift the longer wood and take it up to Whangarei?
I think Taranaki are going to make it because of those Shield defences. It'll be like Hawke's Bay last year. It galvanises their season. You can almost just about bank home games, can't you, up to a point.
Yeah. Look, that's right, and that's certainly the key. But the Shield can be a motivator. As we saw last year, though, can also be a burden. So, but look, if it's going to from Northland, what a fantastic opportunity, game one, to roll out there and really take Taranaki by surprise. No one's into their work yet. It's round one, game one. What a great opportunity. I'll be tuned in to watch that one for sure.
And they I think they broke Manawatu's stranglehold on the Shield years back. I remember back in the 80s, I think it was. So Northland are capable of the upset. Anyway, historically they are. Last question for you then. If the All Blacks were fit and were able to pick all of our players, Pod, looking at what you've seen from the Lions, do you think that the All Blacks would take them out in a 3-test series? I'll ask John the same question.
Look, if we're at our full strength and we're at our best, we'd play our best. I think we're capable of beating them. Look, Australia should have beaten them last week, Marty. Last weekend, Australia should have beaten them. So if Australia can get close to them, and then we're certainly more than capable of tipping them over. Would it be a clean sweep? Not sure. It's a pretty good British and Irish line side that they got running around over there. I'll go as far as to say 2-1 to the ABs if we were playing.
I'm picking 2-1 as well, John.
Another draw? Yeah. We like that, didn't we? What did Steve Hansen say? Like kissing your sister? That still leaves a bad taste in the mouth.
I was at that game. God, everyone walked out in silence after that game.
It was just horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But this All Blacks team hasn't hit their potential yet, and that's a worry for me. So I think this British and Irish Lions team has, and that's why they're 2-0 up in that series. They find a way to win. They're so defensively strong. I think they've got the best coach in the world in Andy Farrell, and I just think the All Blacks still have a lot to prove. So I'm not brave enough to say that we would beat this British and Irish Lions team, who can say that they're one of the best that have ever existed if they go through and win this whole Australian tour without really batting an eyelid. What the Moana Pacific First Nations team was the only one that really pushed them hard. So it's been an incredible tour from them with that Irish sort of centre that they've got.
Backbone of the side.
So I'm not brave enough to say we would beat them, Marty.
And what he's just done is he's just forgot to say the words Rassie Erasmus and the best coach in the world. So the South African comments are just going to come heaping in like the tsunami, mate. They're just going to come heaping in like the tsunami.
Well, that's how you get the clicks, isn't it?
Thank you, boys. Let's enjoy it tonight and for the rest of the comp.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, mate.
DSPN.